Now there is a new article that just surfaced, apparently of still highlighting that Nio, a sub-brand Firefly, intends on launching a hybrid. You'll know that last week those rumors also surfaced, but Nio president quickly rejected those rumors. But again, another article comes out today to say that no, this hybrid is coming, or Nio is planning to launch this hybrid under their Firefly sub-brand, and it will only be sold in Europe. And this is to try to address the tariff increase onto Chinese EV makers being imposed by Europe and to Nio. I mean, Nio, you'll know that they have got a tariff increase of 20.8%, which came effective as of last week on Wednesday. So this new article is saying that the reason why the hybrid will come and will only be sold in Europe, it's mainly due to address the tariff, or the current tariffs that which the EU is imposing on to Chinese EV makers like Nio. So yeah, man, this is what we have read. And ladies and gents, those rumors got rejected by the new CEO last week. I think the ones for last week were specifically saying that Firefly could be a hybrid, which Nio rejected that. So we don't know if future models will indeed come as hybrid cars, but I think time will tell. But in China, it appears that even on this new article, it emphasized the point that in China, Nio will continue rolling out full EV cars. It's only in Europe, Firefly, or the model that might come in 2026 and start deliveries in 2027, will be a hybrid, specifically to address the challenge of the tariff increase in Europe onto Chinese EV makers like Nio. So this is what we are reading this morning. But again, I mean, I'm not worried about this. I mean, Europe, you'll know that in general, Nio is not doing that well there. And seeing them trying to come up with ways to penetrate the European market, I suppose there's nothing wrong with that, because in terms of infrastructure also, infrastructure is not that much for EV cars. But Nio continues deploying, of course, battery swapping station charging infrastructure in Europe, but not as aggressive as what we are seeing them doing in China. This is something that we must note. This is something that we have seen, right? But yeah, I'm not against this. If indeed Nio can come and confirm this to say that they are launching a hybrid to try to penetrate the European market, well, I'm not that worried. It's just that in China they cannot do this, because then they will be killing their battery swapping station mode, right? I think them sticking to full EV cars in China makes absolute sense, because anyways, there won't be any need to do battery swap when you are building hybrid cars, which is why I think it makes sense for Nio to just stay full EV cars in China. I mean, Xpeng, you'll know that I think they're planning to launch or to start delivering a hybrid car, or their first hybrid car next year in China, which I suppose part of the reason might also be they want to export this onto Europe, right? I mean, hybrid cars are doing exceptionally well in China in terms of sales, which is why we continue seeing companies like Li, BYD flourishing because of the hybrid cars which they are selling, right? But this, I think, it's a short-term win for the hybrid cars. In the long term, we are going to see people becoming comfortable buying full EV cars, and Nio will be right there at the top when it comes to those people that are buying full EV cars, because Nio right now, you'll know that their cars cater for everyone. If you're from lower to middle income earner, you can afford Firefly. Middle class, you can afford Onvo. And from middle to upper, you afford the Nio cars. Nio cars are not cheap and cannot be afforded by just anyone. Some people in the middle class, in fact most people in the middle class, can still afford Nio cars, which shows you of how pricey they are and how small their market is, especially for full EV cars. I mean, like I said, in China there are still some people that are still battling the thought of switching to full EV cars. But this issue, of course, with time, the more infrastructure is deployed, it gets resolved and people are comfortable buying full EV cars. I mean, some governments in China, we've seen them going an extra mile to support full EV cars, to say that they want sales to be more, or they want subsidies to be a bit higher, or because we have seen them introducing subsidies, or a bit more subsidies higher than those of hybrid cars in China in some of the cities. I mean, that's what we have seen in the past. And there were some article, I think a month or two back, which was saying even these new subsidies of up to 20,000 RMB, which China is offering to new energy vehicle cars, for full EV cars it should be more, to try to encourage and motivate people to go to full EV cars and not hybrid cars, right? To go to full EV cars, or to feel comfortable going to full EV cars, which with Nio being at the top, or with Nio being the leader, so one of the leaders in the full EV car space, I think you and me can agree that with time we are going to see full EV cars switching and selling more than hybrid cars with time. I mean, Nio is not doing bad themselves. I think in terms of deliveries, for the last 6 months or past 6 months, Nio has been delivering over 20,000, which this is something that is pretty exciting, something that is amazing, and it shows you that there is a market for full EV cars in China. Yes, there might be these rumors of Nio switching to hybrid car in Europe to try to address the concerns, or to try to make sure that at least they penetrate the European market, to try to waive off the tariffs, which of course the EU Commission is imposing onto Chinese EV makers like Nio. But full EV cars are the future. We know that. It's just that right now, in some countries, it's just that now in the short term, hybrid cars are winning. Hybrid cars are doing the most. But in the long term, full EV cars will catch up, and people will become comfortable going to buy full EV cars. So this is what we read today. Tell me what you think about this. I think this, yeah, once again, it's something that I think we are going to wait for Nio to respond. But if it's in Europe, trying to address this tariff increase in Europe so that they can be able to sell, I suppose, man, it's fine, because as it stands, Nio is not doing well in terms of sales in Europe generally. The only country that's doing well is Norway, where we saw record-breaking deliveries. And Norway, you'll know that they're not participating into this tariff increase, which that I suppose is a plus for Nio. But the hybrid stories surfacing again today, I think we'll just hear confirmation from Nio. But if it comes, I suppose it's still okay, because at the end of the day, Nio needs to expand, right? And if expanding means that they introduce a hybrid model to try to make sure that they do well outside of China, in Europe and in MENA, I suppose it's a good thing, right? So tell me what you think about this, man. Blue sky is coming. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Blue sky is coming. Long term will win. That's all from me, and God bless you all.